Hey babes, I'm Cynthia.
And I'm Beverly. Grab your favorite drink. Let's sip and chat.
Welcome to Tipsy and Truthful, the podcast.
Period. Hey babes, welcome back to another episode of Tipsy and Truthful. This is a podcast where two best friends sip and chat about life, relationships, parenthood, and everything in between. I'm Beverly, one of your hosts.
And I'm Cynthia.
And today we are joined by a very special guest from out yonder. Okay.
I can't remember.
She's from out yonder. She doesn't live up in here. Cynthia, who do we have with us today?
We have a stranger that we picked up from the street. No,
Damn.
I'm just kidding. I have my other best friend that is joining our pod. This is Yvonne, and I've talked about her. And she owes me some money because I've
a plethora of times. You've talked about me a plethora of times.
I've talked about our relationship. I've talked about our friendship. And she's here visiting for different reasons. Me being one of them. And
me being another one of them. No, that's a lie.
And so we told her, hey, well, Beverly told her. Before she even comes for me, Beverly told her, Yvonne, you should come on the pod.
My own best friend didn't even want me here. But her other best friend wanted me here.
Exactly.
Speaks volumes.
Crap. Anyways, this is Yvonne. I'm not going to give her full government because we don't need that.
Exactly.
So this is Vonny.
Hi, thank you for having me.
And thank you for being here. My idea, everybody.
Exactly.
Okay. So I know you've heard our podcast before because if you don't listen, we will strangle.
No, I've listened to every single one. Video and audio.
You better. So we start our episodes with our highs of the week and our opportunities. What?
Cynthia has so many opportunities this week, but okay, go ahead.
She was like, if you don't say this on the podcast,
I was going to call in. I was going to dial in. No, for real. She's had a rough week.
You don't have to dial in. You hear and live in color.
So lie if you want to.
Wow. I guess Cynthia should start. And you should start with your opportunities because apparently there's a shitload of them.
Well, I think that one opportunity that Yvonne is going to say is that I've had a short fuse this week, which is a change from the last couple of weeks. Listen, it's like my first full week home. Last week was like I was doing a lot of things. This week was more, actually. Well, yes, because we were on vacation, so it was like a holiday week. I only went in back to work for 2 days because I officially am done. Yesterday was my last day. But I just been running on very, no patience.
What do you think that is attributed to?
Just the adjustment. I think that adjusting to life right now and not having a work schedule, but still feeling like I'm overwhelmed with things that I have to do. It's just, taking a toll.
Can I point something out? You're very much a person who thrives with a routine. And your routine being thrown off is probably affecting you in this way. Yeah.
That makes sense.
And you had the shitty end of the stick. I'm sorry, girl. You had to deal with Cynthia all week.
It hasn't been bad.
Oh,
please help
me. She texted me saying, come get your friend. She's a bitch.
And you know what you said? And what did you say? Nope. She's all yours.
No, but I wasn't being a bitch to you.
Well,
she didn't say to me.
Bitchy, yes. In general, yeah.
She didn't say to me.
Which I've been really good about not being like that. But once again, this week I've been feeling overstimulated. Honestly, I even told this to Kyra. I'm like, the volume, I can't do it. It's just too much. Put it down. It was like a lot.
Same for me this week.
How about you, Yvonne, since she's our guest?
How about you?
An opportunity?
You don't have to start with an opportunity. You can say.
You can start with the high or the low, whichever one you want to start with.
I feel like the high of my week was...
Me? Thanks.
No, sorry. Definitely wasn't you. When I wanted to hold off to see my sister.
Oh, for sure.
My older sister until Sunday, which is her other baby shower. But I was like, I couldn't wait. So I went and I went to go see her. And it was amazing.
Yep, I cried too.
That was the high, yeah. Her husband took a video and I was like, oh, am I going to make me cry?
Is it because you met the baby for the first time?
That was the first time I met her son.
But her sister didn't know that she was going either.
Yeah, so she was completely
really
surprised. I could show you the video later. Yeah,
okay.
It was.
Let me give everybody a little bit of background. Our friend Vonny lives in the Sunshine State. Okay. She lives in Florida. She's here visiting. She has her big sister lives here who just had a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And she had not met this baby yet. And you just showed up at your sister's doorstep.
So I basically, her husband, he's so creative. He was like, all right, this is what we're going to do. She's downstairs working out. So just come up to the nursery. Once she finished working out, he's going to tell her, come upstairs to the nursery. And so when she came in, she was like, what happened? She looked at me. She looked like if she saw a ghost. She was like,
my goodness.
Eva. And then she immediately started crying. I was like, like it meant a lot for, I'm going to get all teary eyed. But it meant a lot for her that I was there.
She cried, and I cried watching the video.
I'm crying now. I wasn't even there.
Yeah, my eyes just got watery.
I watched it twice, and I cried.
I don't want to cry because I know you charge for some jar, and I don't. Yo no tengo dinero. So
Yo no tengo cuarto. No me jodas.
Well, she's a true fan. So.
But yeah, that was my high of the week.
Any opportunities?
Do you have an opportunity?
Opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe being more patient. At work, they've been kind of really
honestly, and I hope nobody from your job listens to our podcast. But your job sucks balls.
My job is not the easiest. It's mentally draining, and it's just like
you're in the same field Jessica's
in. Let me give you an example. Today she was on lunch, and the big boss said, "Hey, can you jump on for a quick meeting?" And we were all in the car, and she was like, "Crap, I need to jump on this meeting." During her
Even
lunch.
though you were on your lunch,
I was on my lunch, and then
that's when I would put my phone on DND. And be like, I didn't see it. I was on lunch.
Yeah. So it's because we had this big meeting coming up at 2. So then her and the CFO.
They were trying to crunch numbers.
They were trying to crunch numbers, but I'm on break. But they were like, yeah, we know you're on break. So just let us know this before the meeting. The meeting starts at 2. I'm on lunch from 1 to 2. So it's like, AKA F your lunch and just do it. Because like I had to jump into that. Then I had to crunch numbers. I was nervous about that.
And she was like, I don't know how to do this. And I was like,
I was calling my sister, which she's on maternity leave, my older sister. She's like, Yvonne, you just gotta, and then I'm like, oh, and Cynthia's like, come on, I'll help you with the number. But yeah, I think it's just have more patience with my job. That's definitely could be my opportunity.
Good. You, babe?
My high of the week is the few days that we've taken advantage of the good weather. So it's we're currently, we're recording on 4th of July week. And 4th of July was rain. Was it rainy the 3rd or the 4th?
It was rainy the 3rd and half the 4th.
Basically, we were supposed to go camping the 4th of July weekend. And there was so much rain that we canceled. Well, we postponed our camping trip. And that's my opportunity. When we postponed the trip, I was in such a salty mood. I was like looking at people who were camping in the rain. I was like, we could have been there. We could have done that. Even though I know I would have been there miserable, complaining, whining, wanting to come back home. I had some serious FOMO, like watching Snapchats of people. And I'm like, we could have had a calpa too, and we could have just done it.
But we've done that, being in the rain.
It's been miserable.
And we came back the next day. We were so upset.
That's why it's my opportunity, because I know damn right that I was gonna be miserable if I was there. But I was. Princess John was the first one who was like, let's be out. And everybody else was like, sold. Yeah.
We were miserable though.
But the high of the week, did I already say that? Okay, we went to the beach. We went swimming. We played outside of Cynthia's house with like the little pool. This is like the first few really nice days in a row that we've had. And we have juiced them. We're trying to be outside with our babies. And it was a good start. Point blank period. So this week, guys, is our 30th episode. Is it? This is our 30th episode, babe. That's why we're doing these cards.
I know, but the last week was the 29th.
Yeah. Last episode was with Jose and Elisa, and that was our 29th episode. And this one is our 30th episode.
I lost track already.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't remember the number.
Okay. I got you, baby girl. So what we usually do every 0 episode, so the 10, 20, 30th, 40, 50, and beyond, is we change it up, and instead of having like a topic, we do like a card game. The last 2, I think we did the same one. We're not really strangers. And we found a new one. It's called Skin Deep, right? The Skin Deep?
Skin Deep.
Skin Deep.
I didn't see the.
And there's different editions. We got the Friends edition, but there's like couples. There's like a healing one, which I want to get that one.
I want to get all of them.
Same. They're not cheap. So
people, I'll wait for them on sale.
People from the Skin Deep, if you want to sponsor us, we are accepting free cards. We will.
I was gonna say, don't forget the hashtag.
We're gonna hashtag. We're gonna tag. We're gonna be thirsty. Okay. So basically, it's the same as before where we have these cards. We're going to switch them around. And Cynthia, can you explain how we're going to do this? Because it's not going to be the same.
Okay. So the card is the deck that we chose is obviously the friendship one.
Mm-hmm.
I have my 2 best friends here.
Yes.
So the way that we're going to do it, because you want to explain your relationship with Yvonne?
Yeah. So I've known Yvonne forever.
Yeah.
She was best friends with Cynthia throughout high school. So they were really close. And me and Cynthia went to different high schools. So during that time, like we still hung out like maybe a few times a month, but we weren't as close. And Cynthia and Yvonne and I would see each other and we would of course have conversations, laugh, tell stories, but we never really got deep like that. We never had in-depth conversations. So some of these questions are like really about like deep things that we unfortunately, our relationship hasn't reached that level. Like now we're having these conversations because we're older, we're more mature, but I don't think we know enough about each other yet for these cards to make sense for each other. Mm-hmm. I look forward to learning these things about you.
Yeah. So, so the way that we're going to do is that I'm going to ask each of them a question and they're going to vice versa do the same thing with me.
Right.
They will ask me a question.
Exactly.
So should I begin?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who is this one for?
I'm going to ask this to Beverly.
Oh no.
Let's start off light.
Okay.
What do I do that annoys you that I'm not aware of?
That you're not aware of?
Yeah.
Because the thing that you do that annoys me, you are very aware of because I remind you all the time.
All the time. But you do it not only to me. This is just something that you're, whatever.
Something. I have to try to think of something that you're not aware.
That you are not aware, that I'm not aware of. Yeah.
That's hard because I tell you.
Yeah, you're a blabbermouth. So how about forget that I'm not aware.
Okay.
What's something that annoys you?
You're a lack of attention to detail.
I knew that.
Yes. Yeah, you did.
Yes.
She said that earlier.
Please don't repeat that because in job applications, that's something I have.
She has some negotiations at the moment, so don't ruin that. Don't ruin it.
You know.
I'm gonna tell you why. Okay. It annoyed me in the past, but a light annoy. Okay. Yeah. Because it was just like, oh, that's just Cynthia. Now that we're working together on this podcast, whenever you do something and I feel the need to spell check you to be the, what do you call this? Like when somebody edits your,
the editor?
I feel the need to be the editor. And that's frustrating because I just feel like it makes double the work for me.
I get that. And something that I tell with Beverly is that sometimes, and I understand that 100%. It's funny because I told Yvonne this. I'm like, I bet.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know what Beverly's gonna say because we've always had these conversations.
Yeah. Right.
The thing is with me, especially when we're working together, and sometimes because we're so busy, we're doing things on the fly.
Yes.
My brain cannot keep up with your speed sometimes.
I get that.
Yeah, you move really quickly.
I'm a creative person, and the way my brain moves, I expect your fingers to type at the same speed.
my brain and my body not connected like
Understood.
That at all. So like sometimes she's working, and I'm most of the time, guys. Now that this is the first time that I'm not at work, so where I have more time. But a lot of the time when we were releasing episodes, I was at work, she was at work, Jessica's working. Yeah, we're doing this all through text.
Yeah,
and I was doing it in the 10 minutes that I had. Went to the bathroom, grabbed my phone, and trying to edit these videos, trying to release these clips. It was a lot. So my attention to detail really, really showed up during this time. I just didn't, I didn't have it. I already struggled with that, but I struggled with it even more doing it so quickly and I keep my mind up with everything else. You know what I mean?
Because I know my person, right? This is the thing with you. You're very task oriented. So for you in your head is a checklist. It's like get it done versus get it done right.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that like in an offensive way.
Oh, no, for sure not.
For me, like our brains work differently in that. Like for me, I'm like, fuck the checklist. Okay. If I have 12 things to do it, I'm only gonna do 3, but they're gonna be done pristinely. You know what? And I don't think your way is right or my way is right. That's just our brains just work in different ways. So I get it. I love you. I still spell check you. So now you're gonna ask another one to Vonny, right?
What experience do you think has shaped me the most and why?
Shaped you the most? I mean, again, I've missed so much.
But from what you have, from what you know, maybe.
From what I know currently,
Mm-hmm.
you being more involved spiritually has shaped you into a better person.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? You're learning to have patience with yourself. You're studying the Bible and in turn teaching me stuff about God and all this other stuff. So I feel like that at the moment is what I know to have shaped you at this moment. I'm not even going to bring up high school times because that's just like, I feel, you know, little kid stuff.
I didn't think of that one. That's good. All right. Oh, I'm nervous about this one. Cynthia, what are you hesitant to tell me?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Mm-hmm. Say it.
See, I would have liked that question for me to ask you. Yeah.
You want to see it? You can use it too. I don't care.
I'll let her answer.
Okay.
I think what I'm hesitant to tell you, and not really hesitant, but I do worry about you.
Mm.
I worry about your mental all the time. I worry about your physical all the time.
She's taking notes for when we start crying.
I worry about that, but I'm scared to tell you how much I do worry because I'm concerned all the time.
You're going to make me cry.
I really am. And I try to tell you, but I don't tell you as much as like how it really like weighs on me.
Yeah.
To see you as tired as you are. Yeah. Just like you doing everything. I don't think you I don't think you truly understand what the way that we see you. And I'm going to say we because I'm not the only one that sees you that way. And it's a lot for me to see you that way. So I worry constantly that you're going to be resilient. Not that you're not, but I worry that at some point you may have a breaking point. And that scares me. And so I'm constantly hesitant to tell you how much I truly do worry about you.
Can I be real? I worry about me too.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, I can't do this another day. I can't. I need a break.
Don't start crying because give me the tissue.
You're ready too. Oh, pero Jessica quiere cobrar, eh?
Yeah.
And that's hard because
you can be a lot.
I don't, you know, it is a lot. And I'm only on the outside. I'm so close to you and I'm on the outside and I still don't really truly understand how you do it, how you manage it, how you're not dead. Like, I just don't get it. Sometimes I look at you and I'm just like, I don't get it.
I'm just tired of living like constantly like in a rush.
That's what it feels like. It's exhausting to watch you.
It's a lot. I'm not gonna lie. And I'm working on my mindset because I know that half of this stuff lives up here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm working on my mindset to try to slow the fuck down. Because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times I'm rushing without needing. Like there's no race.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm working through it. I appreciate your concern.
Yeah.
That was literally my concern. I'm not as close to you as Cynthia is, but from what I see from the outside looking in, whether if I see it on your Instagram story or like I'm talking to her and then you're around or whatever, but it's just like, how do you, I tell you all the time, how do you do it?
You know,
it worries me because I'm just like, I love, they're beautiful kids, but it's a lot for one person, you know, and it's just a lot. And it honestly like worries me. I've even expressed this to Cynthia, like, why is she X, Y, and Z? Like, I'm just like, you know, like, it's just a lot. Like, I was like, I could never. And I don't know where you find it from and you do it. You know what I'm saying?
But this is my concern. And this is why I worry because it's not just doing, it's her. Like taking away the kids. My concern is always her at the end of the day. Like, of course I love the kids. And the kids are always taken care of. But I'm always concerned about you.
Her mental.
You. Like taking away the kids, it's you that I'm concerned about. It's you that I'm constantly like.
Mentally, emotionally, spiritually.
It's you. And that's all because the kids are taken care of. But you're sacrificing. And I understand that, but I'm saying like, and that's true. But I'm saying like, in the overall picture, it's you that I'm constantly concerned about.
Because if you don't thrive, everything else.
And so that's why, exactly.
And you have to be good first in order for everything else.
And we talked about this, and there's a reason why we took the break, and the reason why we decided to do a 60-day hard. Yeah. It's all that. And I'm like, okay, but we're still not there. Like, what do we need to do in order to get you there?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
This is my constant battle.
And I know it's your constant battle. And that's something I pray for every day. I truly do. Because I am concerned about you as a human, not as a mom, as a person.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
It's a lot to take in.
Yeah, it is a lot. Well, I already cried, girl.
All right.
No, I think, did you want to ask the same question?
Or do you want to grab another one?
Move to a next one?
I want to move to a next one.
Okay. Grab a card.
All right. So this is a question for you.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this is Yvonne asking Cynthia.
About something for me that she sees
what's
for
your
me.
question?
When did you see me most vulnerable? And what did it teach you about loving me?
Huh.
That's crazy.
Oh. Okay, well, we have a lot of conversations all the time, and I'm obviously not going to disclose a lot of the things that we talk about. But I think that one of the conversations we had was talking about your family life. And when we discussed that, it really let me see you in a different light, because that's the first time in our friendship that you've opened up about the pain that you felt about a certain situation.
You can say it.
Oh, okay, about your dad. And like hearing you like kind of break down, explaining how you feel, really like it hit a different string. And I tell you this too, like that day that we were at church, you know, like just sitting there and seeing people that are missing their fathers, it hits different for me. For two reasons. One, because even though I didn't have the perfect dad, my dad was always there. And because I see my son being so lucky with the father that he has. And I feel like everyone should have a father like that. That it really hurts me when people don't. So that day when you broke down that we were talking about, I don't even know how we got into the conversation. It was like relationships and then dad.
It was about your podcast. You guys were talking about something.
Yeah, it was something about that. But we got into, the whole situation with your dad, and you were just so vulnerable. And so what it taught me about loving you is that even though you paint yourself to the world as this tough person, which I've known is not always true, it really showed me how vulnerable and sensitive you are, and how much love you do need, how much care you do need, how much guidance you do need that you haven't received. And so that made me look at you different. And I know that when I love you and when I think of our friendship, I need to give you more of that, more guidance, more support, just the things I feel like you lacked. So,
can I ask you a question? That, because you guys have, your friendship goes back to high school, or maybe middle school. Is it high school?
No, high school. It was high school.
Okay. This is the first time you guys discussed it. Is it the first time that you realized it, or is it just the first time you vocalized it to her?
I want to say, because I mean, you kind of, about my life, but I feel like this is the first time maybe I was like very like vulnerable about it. I opened up and I was crying, and like it makes me teary right now. It's a hard topic for me.
You know what it is about Vonny? Our relationship, and I'm going to start crying. But our relationship is based on so many, like, on funny jokes all the time. We've been like that all the time. That it's, even though we get deep, sometimes when we feel like, ooh, it's getting too deep.
Crack a joke.
We drop a joke because we're like, oh no.
That's like how we cope.
Yeah, but we're both like that. Because we start like, ooh, we start cracking up. Even if we're scared, even if we're sad, even if we're nervous.
Honestly, that break might have been a blessing in disguise for you guys. Also, t-shirt idea, coping mechanism. Inappropriate laughter.
Oh, for sure.
I don't want to say it. Do I have to say it? I'm going to cry. It's hard because I know that everything that has happened has shaped us to be the person that we are today. And if one thing were to change, our lives could be completely different. But the pain that you went through when you had that miscarriage, it was too much for even me to bear. Like, I don't know if you noticed, and I'm going to apologize. I haven't apologized for this before, so I'm going to apologize now. I was definitely not there for you as much as I should have been. And it's because I couldn't bear it. I couldn't see you in that position.
That was hard.
That makes me sad because I wasn't even there. You know what I'm saying? Like, she went through something so tragic.
It was painful, I think, because I wanted it so much. And it was hard for me to get over it. Especially every time I saw someone that was pregnant. Like I remember that day in River Street, and I was just like, you told me, oh, that lady's pregnant. And I'm like, and she's smoking?
Yeah.
And it was so
the
recent.
next door neighbor was like 9 months pregnant with a cigarette in her mouth.
Yeah. And it killed me because it was recent for me that I had that miscarriage. And just seeing pregnant people all the time, like going to the stores and seeing baby clothes, it was like truly when you have a miscarriage, is probably like there's reminders of, and for me especially because they left the baby there for a whole week. So I was carrying around this reminder of this child that didn't make it still with me. Yeah. And people would ask, and I'm just like, no, but I'm still pregnant. It was too much. It was a lot. So, and I know you don't, I get it, babe. But it was a lot. Like even, like it was just like a moment in time where it was such a blur for me because I was like, I went to the doctors with one thing and left with nothing. And it was just like, and I felt like by myself because I went for a regular checkup. They're like, oh, everything's going to be fine. And I walked out of there and I was like, my baby's dead, but I got to keep it for a week. Are you kidding me? It was just a lot. But I never hold that against you. I didn't even notice
hold it against me, though.
But I didn't even notice it, baby, because it was just everything
so much
else
going on.
I know.
That it just, the sadness was too much, you know? So.
I think I carry a lot of guilt. But
you shouldn't, babe. You shouldn't. She's also pregnant, guys, so she's very emotional. She's also pregnant. It's okay. Let it out. I know you've been holding it back. We're gonna get a freebie.
She wants to charge, okay? So we can't cry, guys.
No, babe. I never, like, honestly, that time, there was just so many moving parts all the time, like, that I didn't even think of any of that at all.
I have many times about how I wasn't the one that was there with you.
It's okay though, babe, because you also, the thing is that, and I've told you this before, your life has always been, there was always a lot
going on
all the time. The girls were young and all this was going on and you were working 1,000 jobs, like always, you know, like it's a lot. So I didn't expect you to.
I know.
You know, and that's not something I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I never know. No. So
okay.
It's okay.
I never told you that. And the hormones, so.
In the hormones and Jeremy.
That's why I'm a mess.
It's okay, babe.
We should have tissues. You fucked up.
What kind of podcast is this with no tissues?
I know.
No.
All right. Vonny, when do you feel the closest to me?
When do I feel the closest to you? Besides personally, physically being next to you?
Yeah. I think they mean like emotionally. When do you feel like we can't get any closer?
I feel like when we're just since we started like reconnecting and things like that, just us being on FaceTime, like after work, and I'm just like, oh my God, you don't even know. And like you're talking to me, and then it'll be from like a fun conversation, and it'll transition into, sometimes it's mostly spiritual conversations. And I'm asking you about, you know, God, Jesus, and this and that. I just feel like it's a different type of connection I have with you, because before we never spoke about spiritual, you know, situations, even though you've been in church this whole time, but you're more into it now. So I feel like I'm learning from you. And that for me is like deep, because I want a relationship with God as well. Right. So it's like, I don't know, it's like a deeper connection when every time I get off work, I'm just like, yeah. So like I was saying, like, we're just on the phone all the time. You know, I wish I lived here. Not really, but I wish I lived here.
No, you wish we lived there.
Exactly. That's a better,
I'm including myself,
I wish you guys lived there because I feel like we would just have so much fun.
We would.
Or us going to like Legoland or whatever, just us hanging out. Feel like we can make more memories.
Yes.
Right? We can bond more. I can get to know you on a deeper level.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I think that's when I feel like most closest to you, when we're just FaceTime and just speaking.
Right, babe.
I'm a hot mess. Am I supposed to pick one for you now?
I guess.
Wow. I mean, I'm gonna ask this, but we first met when you were born. How have I changed since we first met, and how do you feel about it?
Okay, that's easy for me. I feel blessed to be your best friend.
Oh, thanks, babe. Same.
I am blessed to have you in my life. I have you as constant support. How have you changed? You just evolved into being, I can't even explain it. You're such just a like, so smart, so creative. You like push everyone to do and be the best that they can be. Even when you're drowning, you're pushing us up, which is crazy to me. Like, you're so selfless. And I feel like that is something I value in our relationship a lot, because you're just constantly like, forget about me. Make sure you're doing this. Make sure you're striving for the stars, because you can do it. Don't doubt that you can't, that you can. I mean, so I feel like you've always been a very positive, confident person, but I think that you have embodied that more as we get older, as we get wiser. You're not. I think you are.
I've always thought you were confident ever since I met you in high school.
I think you are, and I don't think you exude confidence. We've talked about
And
this.
I think you've told me that before, and I don't know why it's shocking.
Because you know why? Because you're not scared to fail. The rest of us, we're scared of failing, and you're just like, well, if I trip, I'm gonna pick myself up and we're gonna figure this out. Like, there's just so many things that you've done, sin tener idea, and they, for the most part, have been successful things, and that is amazing to watch you go through that. So for me, in our relationship, I value how confident you are, not only in you, but in us, especially now with this podcast.
Thank you, babe.
Yeah.
Number one Latina-owned podcast in the world.
For sure. You forgot it, see?
I didn't forget. Well, the podcast isn't over.
Oh,
I
true.
just said it.
Not bad. Right. But that's how yeah.
Thanks, babe.
Go ahead, girl.
No, this is Yvonne asking Cynthia. We're not on camera, so we got to tell who's who.
They know my voice. My voice is very distinctive.
Well, I'm nasally now because I was
And
crying.
I'm nasally too.
Well, my voice is just deep. You can tell me. You don't know if I'm sir or ma'am. It could be a surprise.
Ma'am Cynthia. What's the pain in me you wish you could heal?
That's easy. We just talked about it. I think that knowing how hurt that has been for you, like with, I'm gonna say your family, just in general. I think that mending relationship that need to be mended or should be mended.
I feel like maybe it should just be restricted just to him.
But it's that side of the family, like your dad, and I think that the fallout with your sister. You know, because that sucks. But mostly with your dad. If I can heal that pain that you feel towards him, that resentment of him not being in your life, him choosing not to be there, but choosing to be there for your other sisters, I would take that 100%. Oh, I'm going to ask both of you this.
Okay.
Beverly, you first.
All right.
How do you describe our relationship to others?
I mean, if I have to use one word, soulmates. We've said this since we were corny and young, but I don't know. I feel like there's so many ways that we're opposites and it just works. I don't ever remember being like, I've been disappointed in you, if I'm gonna be real, but I don't remember ever being like mad at you and staying mad at you. Even when we didn't know how to communicate, we knew how to communicate with each other, which is weird. Like, even when I didn't know how to use my words and communicate my feelings to anybody, even to me, for some reason, with you, it just came out. I don't know. It's just, we're such opposites that like everything that I need, you have, and everything that you need, I have. It just fucking works. I don't know. And I feel like soulmates don't have to be like your romantic partner. I learned with you that a soulmate and a life partner can be somebody platonic. But I literally could not imagine, like, if you move to any other state, me and John are gonna have problems because we're going. Like, I just can't. Like, how am I supposed to do all this without FaceTime ain't enough? I don't know how you could do it. I mean, I'm gonna manifest that we're all gonna move to Florida anyway. But like, yeah. So one word, if we had to do it, just soulmate.
How I describe you to other people?
No, your relationship.
How I describe our relationship to other people.
Uh-huh.
I can't even put it in one word.
Mm.
I really can't. Like, every time I talk about Cynthia, it's like, my best friend this, and oh my God, when you hear her talk about, she's so intelligent, she could be my therapist. Like, there's never anything negative I have to say about Cynthia. It's always positive. the way I explain it, people are just like, oh, well, I want to be her friend too. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's how like I reel them in. Like, it's one of those relationships that unfortunately we did miss out on a few years. But we're mending that. And I think we're doing it very good, let me tell you. But I don't think that we're opposites. You see how Beverly was like, we're opposites. You have something. I feel like we're kind of the same.
Yeah.
So it's like you have an opposite best friend and then you have like the same best friend because it's like we have the same humor. We find that, you know, we read probably the same things. We're into the same things. Like, you know, like style, I don't know. Pero.
Maybe not that.
Because she stays calling me basic. But overall, like.
Basic. But I am basic too, with a little flavor.
I'm like, I didn't want to say it, but I'm like, you're kind of basic also.
Because I like very simple things, but like Ivana is just like very
simple.
Like I like a t-shirt with writing on it.
You have right
she
now.
likes just a white t-shirt. No flavor. You know what I'm saying? A perfect example.
So yeah, I feel like I couldn't put it into words, like one word, but.
Cynthia, honestly, babe, like everybody gets along with you. It's something where people just instantly fall in love with you. I don't know.
And I've said it to her all the time. Yeah. She has that knack with people that she could just like capture you. There's no one that I know that doesn't like you.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I mean, but you know, depends. You know, I know it's far in between, but like everyone likes you. I can I could tell you a million people that don't like me, but I can't name not even 5 that don't like you or 1.
Yeah.
You're just like that person. Look how everybody, you know, was going to miss you from work.
Yeah.
Everybody had something good to say about her. Thank you for changing this. Thank you. The janitor to like the kids.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When people meet you, you just change their lives without even noticing.
Period. You can cry. It's okay. Jessica, we're going to kick you out if you say anything else about the damn tears. We are not robots. We are human.
Oh, man. Well, we're emotional beings.
Point blank, period.
All right, it's your turn.
My turn? Okay, what's one thing that you still don't understand about me?
How you function in life.
What the hell's that mean?
How you function in period. I just don't know how you keep your sanity the way that you do.
But who said I have my sanity? I want everybody to
Babe, because if it would have been anybody else, let me tell you, it could have been bad. We could have been in a hospital somewhere, in a mental unit. We could have called someone something.
I think you need to give yourself more credit.
Who, me?
Yes, you.
Why?
I think that if you were in my position, you would do the same or better than me.
Not at all.
100%.
Not at all.
This is the thing. Okay, when you have, and it's not just my children, right? Because I'm not just a mom. I'm also like, I'm a
business owner.
I'm a business owner. I work at my business. That's going to change soon, God willing. I'm just going to be managing it pretty soon. But I wear all these hats, but I'm not special, babe. This is what I'm trying to say. No, babe. If
I don't
you
think you give yourself the credit. That bothers me about you. You don't give yourself the credit.
I'm going to take some credit, right? Because I wear all these hats and I choose not to fail, right? Like I choose or I choose to be okay if I fail, right? I know, like right now, like I was telling Yvonne, right now, if you go upstairs to my laundry room, you'll cry. Because your anxiety, you will probably have a titty attack up there. Because my son took everything out of my washer and my dryer, and now I have to rewash everything because I don't know what's clean, what's dirty, what's wet, what's dry. Jace's new toy is the washer and dryer. I know that in that laundry room, I'm failing. And I'm cool with it. So I think that anybody in my position would just know that nobody's a robotic. And if there's 50 things, some of them are gonna just not be at 100%. And
that you pick and choose your battles.
I pick and choose. I feel like my kids are gonna be at least 97%.
But for me, see, and that's where for me is different because my brain doesn't work that way. So for me, like you see how you say I choose, I'm failing at that and I'm okay with it.
Yeah,
I struggle with that. You understand what I'm saying? Like for me, that's hard. Like if I'm not checking off everything off my checklist.
I know our brains work differently in that way.
It would drive me insane.
Yeah.
It really would. And that's why I when I see you, right? And you're still making time to freaking work on your business and you slept an hour the night before.
That's what I'm going to do after we leave from here.
Yeah.
Go do a proposal for a client.
You have to do that.
Yes.
You have to. But like I think that the way, and I think that that's still your opportunity, but still amazes me that you're able to juggle so many things. And it like makes my brain hurt because I just don't, I'm like, we have the same 24 hours and I don't know how she did all of that.
But this is what I'm trying to say, babe. I think that you could do the things that I do because I'm just a woman. I'm just a 34-year-old person with 2 legs, gracias a Dios, and 2 arms and a nice thin waist. No, I'm kidding.
I thought she was going to say 10 fingers. I own like 9.5.
Oh,
You got
yeah.
one
I
finger.
almost lost a pinky. No. What I really have is a panza because I'm 4 months pregnant. But no, what I'm trying to say is you don't do all the things that I do because you don't have to. But if you had to, you probably would too. You wouldn't let your kids starve. You wouldn't let your house fall apart. My house is not falling apart. There's sections of it that are falling apart. there's corners in my house that are scary. But the main living areas are livable.
Mm-hmm.
You know? They're less embarrassing. Mm-hmm. And I'm not trying to take away because I know that I do a lot, right? I'm not trying to take away from that. I'm just trying to say, you, Vonny, if you ever decide to have 4 children or 5 children like me, if you decide to have more children, if you decide to own a business, if we end up having a clothing line, a makeup line, I don't know. Once you have another hat to put on, babe, you're going to do it. I think for you, it's just scary to think that you have so much going on and you're going to add something else.
Well, now I don't have anything going on. So
she's like, throw on the hat. You can do it. I think I believe in you more than you believe in you, and that shit pisses me off.
I know. That's your pet peeve.
Yes. That's another pet peeve. You have a list of pet peeves. Yes. I really wanted to shake her. Like, you can do it, Cynthia. Stop doubting yourself.
Wait, did I ask you that or did you ask me that?
I don't know who did what right now.
Oh, so it's me. Why do you love me?
Who knows? No, I'm kidding. Oh. It's a good reason.
She buys me food. That's
Did she buy you a number 1 or was it like just like a cheeseburger?
She was cheap. She did it off the dollar menu. Like,
I don't even have a dollar.
You're definitely a millennial because the dollar menu has been long gone.
oh, really?
There's no dollar
She
menu.
has money. She doesn't look at the dollar menu. That's for peasants. She goes straight for the numbers, the combos.
Like, I'll have a number 1 supersized. Is that even a thing anymore? Supersized? That's gone
They
too.
still supersize it, but they don't call it that.
Large.
Small, medium, or large.
They call it a large.
You want to put that as a large? Okay.
After that documentary, McDonald's is like, yeah, we're killing people and they're finding out.
But the cups be like a tinacos.
a gallon of soda.
No. Let's not even talk about Wendy's because we're going to go.
What's the opposite of sponsor? Because that's what's going to happen. They're going to like block us.
Who cares? We don't want those sponsors. Culture Cup, though, we want them.
Culture.
And Skin Deep, we want them.
Yes.
That's where we stand.
And we're not really strangers. We'll take it.
Oh, for sure.
Yes.
But you.
Anyway.
Why do you hurt me?
This it's gonna sound kind of gay.
It's okay.
But she completes me.
Aww.
You know? Like, it's like 2 halves put together into one. So it's like, I just love her for everything she does, everything she doesn't do, just as overall as a person, as a human being. Like, what's not to
you're
love?
A beautiful person, right?
You know?
You know what's so funny? Even though I hear that constantly, it still makes me feel like kind of weird. Not in a bad way, but I'm just like, everybody should be like that. I don't get it. Why that's like something that why is that a correct characteristics of me? If everybody should be like that.
Because
everybody
it's
should
an
be
ugly
loving.
world, babe. Unfortunately.
And I understand that, but it blows my mind because
there should be more people like you.
Yeah, but
there
isn't.
isn't.
Lamentablemente.
But it doesn't make me feel like special. I'm just like, yeah, that's what it is.
Like that's what it should be. Like that's how I should
exactly.
be.
Like it just, yeah, it blows my mind.
No, babe. And I don't know. I wish I could. I know what you're saying, and I wish I find the right words.
The right words, yeah.
I don't get it. There's a je ne sais quoi about you.
A je ne sais quoi.
A je ne sais quoi.
My kneecaps are sweating. The back of my knees.
I never knew you got sweat in the back of your knees.
Me neither until right now.
Damn, Mrs. Borge.
Oh, God.
Now I'm touching the back of my knees again. Am I sweating? Ooh, I like this one. Ready, Cynthia?
No.
What was the greatest test of our friendship, and what did we learn from it?
Ooh.
That's a great question.
Do you? I don't know if any of you know that answer from my point of view. There's 2 moments that I can think of, and I'm gonna say them if that's cool with you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. The first moment was that time when we went to Six Flags, and I told you I felt like I wasn't wanted there. And I understand your point of view. Like, you didn't want any part of the drama. I understand your point of view. For me, it's like, again, my abandonment wounds was like, I felt like my best friend abandoned me in that moment. And like I said yesterday, if the roles were switched, I would have been like, drama, like we'll take it on together. You know what I mean?
But me and my non-confrontation is the problem. Like, I hate having conflict. That's always been something that I can't take conflict. It makes me feel uncomfortable, especially when people are against each other. It hurts me.
Right.
Especially the people that I care about, because I'm just like, no me pongan en medio. You know what I'm saying? Because it's uncomfortable. But I definitely understand why that would hurt you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the second time was like, we were like looking for that house all together, and you backed out. I really felt abandoned. Like, we were homeless. Me and the girls were pretty much homeless at that point.
I didn't even know that was one of them. Okay, the whole situation with your ex, because during that time, I was by myself. That was when my parents had recently moved to Dominican Republic. And there was a lot going on with you in that situation.
Right.
And there was a lot going on with me.
Right.
Like, a lot. And there was just a lot that was going on in between that I think, looking in retrospect, you had to, recogerte. Y yo también me tuve que recoger because I was wilding out.
I don't know. I feel like the reason I don't count that is because there was nothing that happened. I just felt like I was for me, I was going through so much that I didn't want you to see. I was kind of embarrassed, if I'm gonna be real.
Yeah.
So
It didn't feel like that during that time, though. I'm going to be honest.
No, I get it. You probably feel like I was staying away for...
I felt like I was trying to give you your space, but it was hurtful. Because at the time, too, it was the first time I was by myself. And I was scared. So what did I do? I partied more than... I partied a lot, honestly. That time was hard. Because that was the first time I was by myself. And I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And then I didn't want to bombard you with that because I knew you were going through a lot. And that was the time that we took that hiatus, that little break. It was like 2 months, but it was like the longest 2 months ever.
Babe, you know what's crazy? I was staying away from you because I didn't want to burden you with my issue.
See?
And you were staying away from me. That's the problem when we
had communication issues.
Right. And you were staying away from me because you didn't want to burden me. I had I knew that it was a change for you and that you don't do well with transitions.
No. That's my problem.
But I saw you partying
the trend
and living it up.
Is that I don't do well with change. And that was a huge change because I was in college full time.
Right.
I was working full time. My sister was finishing. She just had started college.
You were pretty much her mom.
Exactly. And the house was nuts, guys. Like,
it was a party,
you guys don't
crazy
understand.
house.
There was parties Monday to Monday. AKA, there was no break.
Yeah.
It was a party house. So, like, the amount of drinking that I did during that time, the amount of smoking that I did during that time, because I was just trying to cope and, trying not to flunk out of college. Like, it was just a lot, but I knew that you were also going through a lot.
See, and
I was just like,
this is a thing about perspective. From my point of view, I was like, she's having the best time of her life.
Hell no.
She is. Okay, but do you see somebody partying and drinking and think that they're stressed?
No. But I didn't know what else to do.
No, and again, now thinking back, I should have known. Like, because I know who you are.
No, and we're not taught how to cope healthily. So for me, I was just like, everybody's partying, let me hide it by partying.
Your coping mechanism was distracting yourself with something
for sure.
very unhealthy. My coping mechanism was retreating, hiding all my shit so nobody would feel bad for me. So nobody would want to kick his ass.
Or judge
so
you.
nobody would want to judge me.
Yeah.
And why are you still in the situation?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it was embarrassing.
Mhm.
Honestly, the amount of stuff I put up with was embarrassing. Like, thinking back, I was like, mija, explícame.
Yeah, but that comes with time. Like, experience is what teaches you that.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to go through the mud to realize I never want to walk through there again.
Yeah. And honestly, and we're gonna like completely 360 change this to something else. My parent issues, I'm gonna say parents, is the reason I stayed in that situation for longer than I should have. Because I felt like I had nowhere to run. Like, I felt like if that wasn't it, like I was on my own. And like, how the hell am I with 2 babies? 2 little babies, like 2 under 1. How am I supposed to do this by myself? I was 21 years old with a 1-year-old and a newborn. Like, where am I supposed to go?
Which was craziness, because as a best friend who's not going through that experience, how am I supposed to help? I had no idea.
You did not have the tools to help me.
Exactly. And we've talked
You
about this in
couldn't
another
relate.
episode, but like, I literally didn't know what to do.
Right.
I was drowning in my own crap with college because they told me to go to college. So here I am in college, struggling in accounting classes. Like, I hate this shit. You know what I'm saying? And I even switched my major because I was like, I can't do this, you know? But I think that it's so crazy to me that we're having this conversation, 15 years later?
Mm-hmm. Is that how many?
13? I don't know. Maybe I had a couple.
21 and I'm 34.
A long time.
A long
Who
time
cares?
ago.
It was a long
10
time
plus
ago.
years.
But it's just crazy to me how important it is to see things through different perspectives.
Yes.
Because, man, that changes the meaning of things so much. You look at things with new lenses. It's like you're blinded.
Yeah.
And like you put on glasses and you can finally see and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's
That is
so
so
mind
true. Because before I was like, it's my way or the highway. I don't care. Like, if me and my sisters would get into a debacle, I'd be like, I don't fuck what she's at. I don't care. Because I'm right. This is the only way I can see it is how I see it.
Yeah.
And now, fast forward years later, I sit back and I'm like, okay, if I did this, how would Alexa feel? Okay, so I put myself in Alexa's position. It literally has changed my perspective. Putting myself in people's shoes is now like my go-to. Like, okay, I could feel this way, but let me try to understand how they feel, because everyone's feelings are valid.
What was the thing that I said, babe, a few episodes back? Perception versus reality? Or was it something like that?
I think it was something like that. I listened to all your stuff on the drive here. So
I think
that's something I'm trying to teach my daughters. When they come home and they tell me like, oh, my teacher said this and it got me so angry. And I feel bad because I feel like sometimes they think that like, I'm not on their side, but I like listen to them and I'm like, I get why you felt that way. And I'm like, can we flip the table real quick? How do you think the teacher felt? I'm like, I asked them what was going on in the classroom. Like, one example is Liana got yelled at and it wasn't her talking. It was a child next to her.
You know what's a good exercise that we taught in SEL?
What?
About perspective change? There was 2 things that we did. One, remember this thing that we drew on the board? Everybody had to add something to that drawing. And then at the end, everybody looked at it, thought about what they saw, and every single person had a different answer. Because it's everybody's perspective is different.
Yeah.
The same thing happened. This was, I think, last year. They came in and they basically made the kids do different things. And one person had to be the person watching from one angle and the other person had to watch from a different angle. And at the end, they're like, what did you see? And of course, it was a different thing.
All different answers. That's what I do with my, like, Liana hates it.
I know, but it's
Liana's
true.
like, why are you like
kids,
this?
You need kids, sometimes kids need to see a visual representation of like what we're explaining. Because these concepts are so contrast for them. They can't access that yet.
And I
so
tell
like
her.
showing them examples of like, okay, this is why perspective is important.
Right. When I tell her, like, why am I like this, mommy? Because I learned this in my 30s and you're 12. And I would want you to know this now. It's just going to make things easier when you're older.
Sure.
So I'm like, what was going on? Well, everybody was being super like loud and obnoxious. And like, she talked to me, but I was just responding to her, telling her to be quiet so we don't get in trouble. And I got in trouble. And I'm like, yes, mommy, but the teacher is far away from you in the front of the classroom. They see a bunch of mouths moving. And at the moment that they happen to look your way, they see your mouth moving. I'm like, I don't think they were just picking on you, mommy. He just felt disrespected and you just happened to be the person he laid eyes on that moment. And she's like rolling her eyes like, why are you like this? I'm like, it's not that I'm not taking your side, mama. I'm just trying to make you see both points.
all right, so let me ask.
Yeah. So this is Yvonne asking Cynthia a question.
again. What is one thing I could do to improve our relationship?
Honestly, I think I'm gonna repeat and say that we're taking advantage of the fact that we weren't friends for a couple years, and you're not holding back. And if I was being truthful, you're doing everything that you're supposed to do and more as a friend. So honestly, I just want us to to be consistent, and to continue to have the communication that we have now, the understanding that we have now, to even though we're stupid with each other, that we continue to have moments where we're vulnerable, because I think that we're gonna continue to
grow.
Yeah, for sure, grow and heal things that you probably never saw that way, or I never saw that way. And I think that's I feel like a relationship that doesn't help you reach your ultimate. And I told you this the other day. I think I told you this the other day, and we cried a little bit. I said, sometimes in life, everybody knows that I grew up in church. But this is the first time in my life, I'm going to be 100% honest, where I'm being very intentional about my spiritual journey. The learning that I'm doing, how am I applying it in my life? How am I walking? How am I radiating that? Right? And I told you that I think that one of the reasons we're still friends is because we're supposed to be friends, because that's how God wanted it. Because of me, you're going to get to him. And because of you, your family will get to him. And I feel like when I think of my purpose in life is to start planting seeds because this not only happens with you, it has happened to me in places that I would have never imagined.
Even with me. And I was raised in church.
Yeah.
But like I made a promise to start reading the Bible. And that's because you like pretty much inspired me to.
And I'm seeking God because you've inspired me to. So I download the apps and I ask you questions, and I'm more intentional with what I do. Every morning I wake up and thank you, God. Like I'm always, it's a habit thing now. Yeah. And it was instilled because of you.
And I feel like at the end of the day, a friendship that inspires you to do better and to grow in whatever way that looks like, I think that we're all on the similar journey of being one with God for sure. But also continue to heal the wounds that we've never healed. And being open about them and putting them in the past and not picking them back up. Like once we feel like, okay, we're good, we're leaving it there. We're not going to reopen that wound. We're not going to restart this over because we dealt with it. And I feel like in our relationship, that is my gift in our friendship. That makes sense.
Well, guys, this episode is about to run 3 hours if we keep going. There's a lot more parts here. We decided that this is really fun. We are gonna keep recording. We're gonna make this a 2-parter. I don't know if we're gonna share the second part. Honestly, we're just gonna keep recording. We'll see how it goes. If
we're probably gonna put it on Patreon.
We don't have a Patreon yet, but maybe we'll make a Patreon.
They don't know that.
But we want to end the episode with a nugget. Do you have a nugget, babe?
Yes.
What is your nugget of the day?
My nugget is have grace. Have grace because you know what? And I've said this in other episodes. Sitting here, hearing you guys talk about me and me talking about you, I can see that you guys are surprised and I am surprised with the things you're saying. So keeping in mind that your perspective is not the only perspective is huge, but also having grace when things have happened in friendships or in relationships. Listen, we're not perfect.
No.
And I feel like you people deserve that grace from you to get a second chance, to get an explanation, to get forgiveness, because you don't want to carry that anywhere. Yeah. You don't want to carry that load everywhere you go.
I never told you that I felt guilt about that.
Yeah, never. And I'm just like, why would you feel guilty about that?
Yeah.
But hearing you explain why you felt that way, and even though I didn't notice it like that, because obviously everything was going on, it's eye-opening to me because I'm like, wow, it's crazy how sometimes you're consumed with your own things that you don't even realize how it's affecting other people also.
Right. And that wasn't my situation.
Oh, for sure.
Of course.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to deflect and maybe like that was hard on me. Seeing how hard it was on you.
No, and I get that.
And the fact that you had to go to the hospital and get this procedure done with it was our cousin's wife, who she's great and everything, but she's not
you.
She's not me. I should have been the one that was there. And I don't remember why. I don't remember what excuse I gave you as to why I couldn't go. But I know the real truth is I couldn't handle it. I had to be strong for you, and I wasn't able to be strong for you in that moment. And I never told you how guilty I felt until this moment. So I'm gonna add to your nugget. My sprinkle of her nugget is have these conversations with the people that you love, with your friends, with your parents, with your siblings, with your partners. If these conversations don't come naturally to you, get these cards. There's all types of cards. What are these called again? The Skin Deep?
Skin Deep.
The Skin Deep.
I don't think it's the Skin Deep. I think it's Skin Deep, babe.
Because on the box it says the and it's like in parentheses.
Oh, but maybe. Okay, maybe.
I don't know. We're gonna link them. We're gonna hashtag them. We're gonna do something so you guys can find them.
And so these
conversations, sometimes you don't even come up with the questions to dig deep and like these things to come out. Like I would have never told that to you if it wasn't for that question. So, you know,
if you're on a journey to heal friendships and relationships, I think this is a great start.
My sprinkle of her nugget is these conversations are important to have. And if they don't come naturally to you, because honestly, we weren't taught how to talk about these things. We're learning now so we can teach our kids so the next generation can be better than us, right? Buy these damn cards. Make it easier on yourself. These are pre-made, prefabricated to make you have deep conversations that you get to know yourself and your friends and your family and your partners in a deeper way. So,
For sure.
Yvonne, thank you for coming and joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Yeah, everybody, thank you for listening to the #1 Latina-owned podcast in the world.
And on that note, thank you for not getting tipsy with us.
Even though she's having a drink, but still keeping it truthful.
I forgot, and did you see me?
I know you put the guilty face.
Dang it. But I'm not tipsy, so really, am I lying?
No, I guess not. All right.
Anyways.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in. Check us out on Instagram at Tipsy and Truthful Podcast.
And TikTok at Tipsy and Truthful. See you next week.
Love you, babes.